Deadpool? Why is Ultimate Deadpool sitting there? Is that supposed to happen? I think I'm live. Yeah, I'm on the air currently. Alright, awesome. So I'm just gonna pull up the stream. Okay, good. Everything checks out. I'm gonna pull up the stream on my computer real quick and make sure that everything is operable. Real quick, make sure that everything is operable. Okay, awesome. Okay, and I got a comment already. Awesome. I will get right to that. I have to I spent so much time worrying about tags and description and everything that I was not 100% ready for the actual stream monitoring aspect of the setup. Alright, so I'm just going to mute that and check out the chat. Oh, hey Nerdicane. Nerdicane coming in with a sup kid. There's a sort of thing going on right now called At Home Comic Con, and a lot of the folks I really enjoy, like Cape Joel and Comic Pop and a bunch of people like that are taking part in Godzilla Mendoza, Comic Tropes, a bunch of people like that. I thought, apropos that, it would be a good time to sort of do a live stream of my own, because I've been planning to do a live stream of this game for ages, as many of you can attest, but I obviously have yet to do that. Why am I wearing the Ultimate costume? I was not aware that I had this suit. Yeah, so we're just gonna play from the first level. Whoa. Alright. I normally I stream Spider-Man, but I stream that game quite a bit, and I imagine a lot of you are probably bored of that by now. I'm turning down my TV so there's no echo. Nerdicane, is there an echo that you detect at all with the TV?
So I got another contract for you if you're interested. The coin is good, so just let me know. Oh, and regarding that other thing you texted me about, I can't. I mean, it was just supposed to be that one time, and anyway, just call me.
Deadpool, it's Peter Della Penna from High Moon Studios. You know, the guy you kept calling dickhead when you cornered me in the parking lot the other night? Anyway, looked over your proposal.
Yeah, I turned down the TV.
I understand any of it, but the answer is no. We're gonna pass on your big game idea.
What? He said no? That was our chance to be in our own video game. Maybe we shouldn't have in
Domino looking good. Yeah, relax. Funny enough, she looks like a female.
You know he's gonna call
I haven't seen that in a while. This game was made in 2015, so it was still okay to do that.
You know, dickhead.
Just barely, but it was still okay. Evidently, my city of Halifax, I was reading a news story earlier today. A real Die Hard 3 situation going on. There was like a collision with two cars that set fire, and there was helicopters and shit going on. Pretty crazy situation. Apparently, 15 people were shot, and 11 out of those 15 people are dead now. There's not a lot of details right at this minute, so I'm not really sure what it's about, but it's pretty crazy. You know, generally it's a pretty safe city.
Script?
I mean, it's Canada
like some
after
dingus
all.
word writer's gonna know better than me how to show how amazing I am.
Amazing is more Spider-Man's thing, really.
Yeah, right. What's so amazing about that geek?
Well,
wow.
Superhuman strength and reflexes, extrasensory perception, genius-level intellect, the ability to stick to any surface.
Know what else sticks to any surface? A load of goo? Ooh, Spider-Man. But does Spider-Man have a sweet-ass supercharged healing factor? No.
Yes.
But me, some
yes, he does. So evidently Marvel recently laid off a bunch of employees within the last couple days or so. I just saw the Newsarama article earlier today, so I'm a little behind on the old 8-ball here. But it's a beautiful game, by the way, graphically.
Hey, player, sit your ass down and watch some TV.
Yeah, hold on.
Maybe you'll learn something.
But
let's see what's behind door number 1.
Apparently, it's supposed to be temporary. But the fact of the matter is, if things keep going the way they're going, and the comic book industry finds that, I'm gonna put my phone on Do Not Disturb. If the comic book industry finds that it's too difficult to maintain any sort of financial stability after this, the fact of the matter is, a lot of those, that's Lady Death on the wall. The fact of the matter is, a lot of those layoffs are going to be permanent. I know this cover, I think. Is this from the 1993 Marvel Swimsuit Spectacular? I think that's what that is. This game's a little laggy for some reason. Well, it's not, I guess it's not optimized for PS4.
It's just like me.
One thing I appreciate about this game is that when it was released, it was sort of a budget game. Like the developer High Moon Studios made sure that it was reasonably affordable, given that they didn't pay much to develop it, and it's a fairly simple game. So it was actually about $20 cheaper than the yeah, okay, thank you, Man of Action. It was the 1993 Swimsuit edition. But back when they released this game, it was actually about $20 cheaper than the average new release was at the time. It's sort of the little game that could. I'm not exactly sure what the budget is for this game, but I know that it was much cheaper than most games. It's actually really impressive for the budgetary constrictions they were under. But that said, it's still a really simple game. What the hell? What on earth? Yeah. I don't know what the hell's happening. I assume this is a controlled cutscene. I wasn't listening to the dialogue. Oh, I'm stuck in this corner. Awesome. Have we been glitched already? What the hell? I'm just gonna restart from last checkpoint then, because we got our camera got clipped in the in an asset outside or something. Why is this game so laggy? What the hell? I've never had this problem with the game before. I can't imagine it's the streaming. Simply because I've streamed much more hard to run games than this on a PS4 Pro, and I didn't experience any sort of interruptions.
Why would anybody want to see that? I sure as hell don't. Why do they think I wear a goddamn mask? Hope this game doesn't, like, try to do the whole tragedy behind the comedy thing.
This particular Deadpool, by the way, is voiced by, I believe, Nathan Drake, who is Nolan North. Nolan North plays.
Hey, sit your. So let's see what's
Nolan
on the
North
old
plays
boo
Tony
tube.
Stark in the new Deadpool, or not Deadpool. Plays Tony Stark in the new Avengers game, which I'm not super excited for because I don't think it looks particularly good so far. I was initially excited until the launch trailer, but yeah, I don't think he's a very good Tony Stark. I think he makes a much better Deadpool. There's something very off-putting about his acting in that game.
Click.
I think it was a real missed opportunity for a DC Universe Online situation, simply in that it's not a free-roam game. And I understand that it's easier to develop a game with specific power bases for specific areas of the map and everything like that. But, you know, it just seems kind of lazy.
Are you trying to say underwear?
Hello. Hello, sir. I have a package that...
So do I. Yoink.
What's that? The swimsuit edition? Yeah.
Shit.
Well,
As I suspected.
it was never canon
Words
to begin
everywhere.
with. But it's like everybody's incredibly out of character,
Fine.
and none of it
Scene
makes
one.
any sense.
Dark and stormy night. Deadpool is contracted to kill me, who is blah 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 dee blah blah. Don't need that. Did that.
Ah, crayons. Very classy.
Why are we trying to kill what's his face? Who cares? I'm making art here. Behold.
Not sure the player understands our thinking
Hey
yet.
player, just go with
Spider-Man
it.
reference.
We're about to change your fucking life. Bring the noise!
So this game is largely responsible for the phenomenon of meme pool, which I'm not a big fan of, to say the least.
Sewer. How quaint.
I get very annoyed by
Does
Deadpool
anybody
during
remember how to
long
play?
spurts.
I never read the manual.
You can't
I'm okay with
read.
Deadpool
Yes, I
in short
can.
moments
I
or in
only
the
play
movies and
PC
stuff like that,
games.
but
Hey, there's your text.
you won't find me sitting down to read
Player,
a
read that shit.
a
Do whatever
6-issue
High
trade
Moon
paperback
says.
of Deadpool, nor will you find me
Sweet.
playing this
Jump
game
button.
for too long. Simply because most writers are, even though Jerry
attacks.
Dugan was here for this game and he helped write the story,
Heavy attacks. Got it.
the fact is most writers who write Deadpool don't have the talent to make him interesting or not fucking obnoxious, which is too bad because I think Deadpool does have a lot of potential as a joke, but also as a serious character when played correctly.
And see what happens.
He was fairly compelling in the Spider-Man Deadpool series from a few years ago, but I don't find him to be a particularly compelling individual. And I understand, like, not everybody wants that in all their characters, but the reason I don't like Deadpool is not the same reason I don't like Punisher, but for similar reasons. I think Punisher's cool, I think Punisher's badass, and Noticaine and I actually did an episode of my podcast about Punisher, but I can only handle Punisher in short
Enemies
spurts
can't hurt us
because
while we are teleporting.
Can't hit what isn't there,
I just
baby.
if I can't agree with the
what's
character
better than not getting
ideologically,
hit?
or at the very least, if I can't
Getting
understand the
back.
character ideologically, I don't find it to be a terribly compelling character, and it's hard to stick with it. That's why I prefer characters who have moral philosophies and insights, like Spider-Man or Superman or Daredevil or characters like that. Or even Tony Stark, if I think I think Tony Stark's a bit of a shithead, but he's compelling because he does have those philosophical struggles and he does have those character flaws
Okay, we get
that
it.
make him
Let's do
interesting
stuff. Let's
without
move on.
just being played
What
for
did you have in
laughs.
mind?
Besides you two
The
schmucks.
fourth wall stuff does get
One
old really
crate,
fast,
please.
yeah. I think it can be done correctly, but it's often not. But yeah, speaking of Iron Man, actually, I'm doing a big, huge Iron Man readathon right now. I'm reading Invincible Iron Man from issue 120, which is the beginning of the Demon in the Bottle story arc, all the way up to like 315 or something like that, 320, we'll see.
Boing, boing.
Iron Man gets pretty fucking intolerable
Boing.
around issue 315 or so.
Boing,
Boing.
Jesus.
boing, boing,
Boing. 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 Boing.
banana, boing,
Like,
boing.
boing, 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 banana. That's not a joke. What you've written here is not a joke.
Hey, we don't take fall
But,
damage, so go
I'm
nuts.
like 23, 24 issues into my readathon of Invincible Iron Man.
Ooh, an unsuspecting bad guy.
And I don't
Stealth
particularly
killer.
like Tony Stark, but I understand why he is the way he is, and I find him to be a compelling character.
In my game,
Even if I don't agree with him ideologically. And that's the difference between Deadpool and Iron Man.
That
Is
is
Iron Man, I
impossible.
understand.
Yeah, but it's called
And by the way, I
progression in
don't
games.
feel that way
Must
about
have.
Robert Downey
Hey,
Jr.'s
player,
portrayal of Iron
open
Man.
up
I
the
find
upgrade
Robert Downey
menu and see
Jr.'s
what we
portrayal of
can buy.
Iron Man to be incredibly sympathetic and a really, really good character. Even relatable in some instances. But as far as the comic book Tony Stark goes, he's kind of a shithead. This game is, we might have to switch the Spider-Man at some point because this game is is not performing very well. The thing is, there's a rather paradoxical nature with a lot of these more simplistic games. Where they are more simplistic, they're also sometimes harder to run simply because the level of competency and time and money put into the code, put into the polishing of the game,
I'd chain wall jumps together to get higher.
And Nerdy King could probably tell you more about that than me. But
press the jump button in midair to do a double
duality
jump.
you get
Awesome.
with a lot of these
Laws
games.
of physics be damned.
Anybody who's played Steam games can tell you that even games that should be incredibly easy to run on that of a potato will sometimes not yield the desirable response simply because it doesn't have the level of time and money put into it to make it run as it should to optimize its performance.
I think I need to make an entrance.
I'm just curious if you guys are seeing that same level of lag that I am. Yeah, you are, okay. I'm not alone.
Phew! That's what happens when you mix C4 with a bean burrito.
See, that's not a bad one.
Now be honest. I'm not the only one with a little bit of shit in their pants right now, am I?
See, that's a joke. What he did just then was a joke. Not so a lot of the time though. Like with the bouncy castle thing. Boing, 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 wee, banana is not a joke. That's just a series of sounds and words onomatopoeias.
Didn't I go to high school with you?
What the hell is going on down there? Security, get off your duffs and respond. I'll be in my penthouse.
This game is it's fun and mindless for a while, but it does get kind of boring. I do enjoy, obviously, watching the blood and everything like that. That's always entertaining. And Deadpool will lose bits of his body and flesh and stuff, and that's really fun. His costume grows back, though, rather inexplicably, much like the X-Men Origins video game. If you ever played that, it's a pretty good game. But it suffers from a lot of the same problems that this game does.
What are we doing again?
Not competency or anything like that, but simply the fact that
of course I am.
the game gets quite old. Extended playtime because it's not a lot of dynamic gameplay. It's just sort of button mashing. That's why I prefer games like Spider-Man, where you can actually, there's more than a few moves you can do, and you can make up your own moves on the fly, and you don't necessarily have to abide by a 2 or 3 button structure. Even though a lot of players who play Spider-Man do fall into that sort of 2 or 3 button play style, it's not a necessity, and you can come up with more interesting and clever ways to go about play. Does anybody get this reference, GWN? I'm not familiar with that company. I don't know if it's a real entity in the Marvel Universe. But then again, like I said, I don't read Deadpool comics because I can't stand the character.
We are locking elevator access now. Troops should give me that.
But if everybody knows what the hell that is, I'd be grateful. Yeah, it lags, man. It's pretty bad. I don't know what it is about this game, but it lacks a certain polish that makes it run fluidly.
Wait for him to come downstairs.
Or we could find a way to shut down power to the entire building. That would force a system reset, bringing power back to the elevator.
I like this guy.
See, you have this teleportation mechanic, but it's not used to very great effect in this game.
Shoot her! Shoot her!
Calm down. Shoot the red box.
Okay. Wow.
Somebody get down there and shoot
That's a clever mechanic.
I am not.
Just to be clear, I do like this game. I know it sounds like I don't because I'm ragging on it, but it's I mean, I'd be more tolerant of it if it weren't for the rampant lag issues I'm experiencing right now.
This is so easy.
Like
2
that,
extra
for
slices
instance.
for just $9.99.
But see, like, my body's falling apart and my skin's gone, and that's really cool. It's just there was like a better ways to do the healing animation.
Give me some covering fire.
All we have to do is sit here for that. Like, you can see the back of my skull exposed.
Bad news, poo-poo heads. I'm back!
See as the costume slowly... Oh, look, my ass is exposed. See as the costume slowly... No, it's no Arkham level development, that's for sure. See as the costume slowly heals over like a symbiote. I don't know, unstable molecules, question mark? The other thing is, DC is planning on republishing, or not republishing, but returning to publishing books on the 20th of April.
Yeah,
now, the lineup isn't very big, and I imagine that's because it's more of an experimental phase with these distributors. One of the distributors they are using is Midtown Comics, which is interesting, and that makes a lot of sense, I suppose, because they are one of the biggest comic distributors anyway, simply because they get everything delivered typically through Diamond, but they distribute to independent people all over the world. You want to use the spoilers? You're going to find out. Oh, I've played this game before.
Ooh, scary. I'll bet those elevators work again. I'm so smart.
Which one of you pinheads shut down the damn power? Get down there and fix it!
But yeah, DC is going to be publishing like Batman and Harley Quinn and like a couple other books. But Flash is also another one.
The higher your combo, the faster you can earn momentum to do awesome moves like that. We can get more momentum moves by upgrading our weapons.
Points, which mean more awesome.
God, I really do hate when games take you out of the gameplay so constantly in the beginning of the game to explain shit to you where you just can't move. That's another thing Spider-Man does really great on the PS4 is that they don't pause you every 2 seconds. Like my buddy Chris was in the chat, he was over and we were playing Spider-Man on PS4. And when we were playing, they very, very easily explain the mechanics to you while you're playing the game without interrupting the actual flow of the gameplay to any extent. And the first cutscene is an excellent example of that. It's a flawless transition from cutscene to in-game gameplay where they have you swing and they can tell you like, yeah, press and hold that, and then like as you're doing it, and then later on in the game, like little prompts will pop up on the screen and show you what you're doing. But it doesn't hold your hand, and it doesn't feel the need to stop you every 2 seconds to show you what you're doing. But this month DC's only publishing like, I don't know, maybe 20 or so books, as opposed to their standard like 50 or so, 40 or so. And that makes a lot of sense. You know, you don't want to go all in the first month of your republishing, especially since this is a very experimental mode they're using to distribute these books. Game volume down, mic volume up. Okay. Devices. Is this better? That should sound better. I don't want to play around with the stream settings too much because I don't want to spend a bunch of time looking for everything. But hopefully that helps, and then I can turn the in-game volume down here. Hopefully, and that will
well, this is boring.
Potentially reflect that in the stream. All right, I hope that helped. Yeah. Yeah, so DC is publishing like Harley Quinn and Batman and The Flash and like Hawkman and stuff like that, but they're not publishing nearly their entire slate. and that makes a lot of sense. I didn't want them to go all in the first month. But we'll see how this goes, and we'll see how long pencils are down for. But it seems like DC is far more intelligent in their sort of mode of reoperation than Marvel has been. While DC is now again publishing books on the 20th of April, Marvel is actively laying off more staff in the meantime, and I think that's a reflection of how those companies have behaved the last few years. Not that DC has been any sort of darling in terms of comic book competency these last few years either, but they make far less dumb decisions than Marvel, and it's really astonishing that Marvel has any sort of market share left, and it's only because of the iconic nature and the popularity of their characters right now in culture that happens. What city is supposed to be? It's Video Game City 485.
Think, Deadpool, think.
Okay, so
are being stuck in an elevator in 3, 2, 1.
Alright. I exited the block scene. I don't know why that's a block scene and it's not streamable. But that's rather annoying. Am I supposed to get out of here again? I wasn't paying attention. Oh, that worked. Alright.
Well, I gotta get to the penthouse somehow.
I'm curious what form Deadpool's going to take in the MCU. I really don't know how they're going to integrate that. I don't know if they're going to just let him reside in his own separate X-Men universe, or if they will. See, letting him reside in his own universe would demonstrate constraint, and I don't think that Marvel Studios necessarily has that, or not necessarily Marvel Studios, but I don't know that Disney has that level of restraint, especially with their recent business decisions. But I suppose we shall see how that pans out. The thing is about Deadpool is
you think the bounce house is still pumped up?
He's certainly more interesting when he's in contrast to the Marvel Universe. But the other thing is about that is I don't want him near my MCU because Deadpool's been known to ruin and retcon the hell out of aspects of Marvel Comics. And I really hate that. I think that's really annoying.
TV studio.
I always thought we'd make a great reality TV show.
Chance White dies at the hands of super sex pot mercenary. Story at 11.
Oh, the pictures are the same. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. Spawn's been really good. I don't know if any. Well, obviously nobody's reading Spawn right now because Spawn's not coming out right now. But Spawn's been good. I think Spawn is one of those underrated books from Image Comics. It's one of those like first generation, and it's obviously often neglected in favor of more recent titles like Saga, which I don't really understand. I think Saga's perfectly fine. I like Saga. I've enjoyed it before. I haven't read it in a few years. But
stop this freak.
It's one of those books that have lasted a long time, but it's actually still good. Unlike books like The Walking Dead and so forth, that go on forever and ever, or Savage Dragon, that go on forever and ever, but they're just like shells of what they used to be. God, the lag is ever present. This teleportation mechanic kind of breaks the game as well. Oh, I'm dead.
Why is it so dark here?
Keep him out
thought would make a great reality TV show.
Chance White dies at the hands of super sex pot mercenaries. Story at 11.
Break out the heavy firepower. Stop this freak.
Come on, recharge.
This game is kind of aimless. Like there's no really catharsis to it. It's just like go through, beat the shit out of it. Rinse repeat. Cable's in it, which is cool. Mr. Sinister's in it, which is cool, I guess. There's a Lady Death cameo. I don't exactly remember how it ends, but I don't remember it being terribly compelling. And that's the thing with Deadpool. He's so often incredibly superficial and surface level, which are of course synonyms. But it's a shame because his character does have potential, and so few writers are able to tap into that. Even though, like in theory, this should be one of the better interpretations of Deadpool, because one of the head writers for this game wrote one of the more interesting runs of Deadpool.
Smoke.
Jerry
It'll be
Duggan,
harder for you to see how awesome I am.
who's by the way been pretty awful to fans recently. I really don't understand what it is. Like these people, these comic book creators, they think all of a sudden now that they have a platform, and I don't think these are people who would naturally be the way they are, but I think they've been in an echo chamber for so long at Marvel at this point that they just don't have the self-awareness to understand who they are now and what they've become. Because you didn't have this sort of thing going on before. For example, all the Image guys, they were super in the spotlight and they were super famous in terms of like comic books. At the time, they were they were actually mainstream news stories and they were known. Whereas comic book creators today who think they're celebrities, but they're like nobody knows who the fuck they are outside of the industry. But they were all like good salesmen, but also they were kind to fans, and they never told anybody to eat their ass, and they never like threatened to beat people to death, or called anybody Nazi, or threatened anybody's livelihood. And, like it just wasn't a thing, and I really, it's astonishing. I really think it's weird that in the comic book industry, these writers, these people who should have philosophical perspectives, because what is a writer if not somebody who's supposed to be able to be introspective and look at things from different perspectives in order to create a compelling narrative and to deliver philosophies on page. These are supposed to be artists, but more often than not, you get people who are actively destroying the thing that they're supposed to be working towards building.
What do you think? Sharp, right?
What on earth? Oh, it's a double coffee maker.
Guard that exit. Don't let him escape or you're all dead men. Kill this guy already. Kill him. He's getting too close.
Like, if we were playing Spider-Man, interesting stuff would happen by now. There would be some sort of story beats. There would be some sort of narrative or stakes. But there's no stakes here established, and there's no real story. The story is right now, at this point in the game, the story is there's a news guy. Let's go kill him. What are the stakes? There aren't any. You can't die. You're not doing this for anybody. You're not. Nobody's life is at risk right now, except for the person you're trying to kill. And none of it matters. It's all a joke. That's why it's hard to. Why it's hard to be emotionally invested in these Deadpool stories. I think the movies do a really good job of making Deadpool more compelling. But this game does not follow suit, and nor do the vast majority of the. Really? Deadpool. I don't like Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. I think it's kind of a cynical and crappy, but and it an obvious cash grab. But at least they had like an interesting motivation for Deadpool. You understood why he was doing what he was doing to some capacity, even if he wasn't sane. From his warped perspective, there was something to be seen. I really don't like the way the camera is positioned. Am I supposed to blow this up? Evidently not. Could be a result of my not paying attention, but I don't really know where I'm supposed to be headed right now.
I am throwing a grenade!
Thank you for that. Oh, it's open now. Okay, I just have to keep the last of those seeds. Yay! Incredibly linear on the rails gameplay. Again, this is a good game for what it is. I just don't expect to be tearing up or anything like that. Don't expect to be riveted. I believe there are quite a few costume changes in this game. I know that the X-Force suit and the Ultimate Deadpool suit are at least featured in this game. I don't know to what extent you can use them. I assume in New Game Plus you can use whatever suit you want.
If that hit you in the chest, I'm sorry. It's aiming for your crotch.
See, that's funny. Because it's not just a random sound.
Try to make it look good. I might just put it on the air.
Adamantium, yeah, no shit. That's the thing though, like I'm looking at the chat right now and I'm still just as effectively as I was before defeating these villains. I never feel like I'm at stake, and if I am, I just get set back like a couple of things. It's not a big deal.
And then there were none.
This part of the level here is a little bit more interesting.
Get some backup ready.
Oh Jesus! Once we get to the boss fight here, I thought it was in this one, but not quite.
Is anyone there? Come in. Did you kill him? I repeat, is the intruder dead? Over.
So, where do we go
Yeah,
from here?
we're not in New
Only
York.
one way to go.
Is this Kansas?
The intruder's on the roof. Send all available units to the rooftop.
Wow, I can see my house from here.
Oh, hello. Oh, I got a bloodshot eye. That's cool. Yeah.
We'd be playing with these things.
Yeah, the designer wouldn't have put them here if they weren't supposed to be played with.
Good point.
A lot of interesting gameplay to comment on. You can tell by my constant speech. Oh shit.
Time to work. Where'd he go?
Yeah, so after after this stage, I think I'm gonna call it a day here for at least Deadpool. Maybe I'll do another stream at a different point with Spider-Man, but it won't be today.
Holy shit! Someone could get hurt on this thing.
It's too bad. The game really doesn't offer much to talk about, and it's been really laggy, so it's kind of put a bit of a downer on this whole stream. My last, several streams, all the streams I've done with Spider-Man and everything like that have been really good, I thought.
Cha-ching!
But there's just not a lot to talk about today, and certainly not a lot to talk about with this team.
Shoot, that was my favorite bullet. And you send it back, or just
I'd certainly be less frustrated and more up to talk if it weren't so infuriatingly laggy.
Cutting edge of awesome. Target identified.
I think I look at him. Have you ever seen a rooftop with this many entrances, by the way? Like, this is a sub-roof. This isn't even the main rooftop.
I want him dead. Get Shark One off the ground and rip him to pieces. Roger that, sir. Consider him handled.
Damn, they found the helicopter's on switch.
What, you can't hijack a chopper while it's flying around trying to turn you into shredded cheese?
You doubt our skills? Prepare to be amazed!
Right. Hijack the damn chopper. Seriously, you need to man up.
I can't kill that chopper with my guns, but I can scare him.
Beautiful use of a beautiful weapon.
Now these should come in
Oh
handy.
shit, great. Awesome. Well, I'm simply just not having fun playing this game right now, so, sorry about that, guys. I expected the game to not be so laggy, and if it weren't so laggy, it would be far more tolerable. Dan Slott isn't celebrity, Spider-Man is. Dan Slott just happened to write him for a while. That's true. Dude, I would have Dan Slott at my birthday party. That'd be great. He can come and yell at me about why I don't like the clone conspiracy. Dan Slott's Iron Man is the worst. Has anybody read Dan Slott's like Amazing Spider-Man worldwide series where yeah, that's exactly what he do. Anybody read Dan Slott's Spider-Man Worldwide series where he has like a Spider-Man who's basically like he's got all the tech and all the cool stuff like Iron Man, only his is better because he's fucking Peter Parker. And Iron Man comes in and he's got this huge inferiority complex and he pops up a few times throughout the series to just like be a bit of a prick. And he's got a really obnoxious idea of who Tony Stark is as a person. It's like maybe that's who Tony Stark was once upon a time, but not in a very long time. Certainly not since the Extremis story arc in like 2005. And I read the first issue of his current Iron Man series, which he's writing now, and it just seems like he's completely checked out. The character remains to be completely infuriating and annoying and obnoxious, and there's not a single redeeming quality about him. He's rude to people. He doesn't care what other people have to say. He's a complete narcissist. He's also technically a clone. But nonetheless, he's just a complete ass in every regard, and he doesn't seem to care about how his actions affect other people, even on the most like casual level. And that's never who Tony Stark was. He's very, like, if you go back and you read those old comics, he's always very considerate of the people he considers his friend and the people he considers his staff. And it's just like a complete juxtaposition of anything we've ever been demonstrated before. Especially in recent comics, and indeed in, like, Civil War II, for example, which is not a good book. But Civil War II does demonstrate a profound growth of character with Tony Stark, where he's learned from his mistakes of the first Civil War. He's learned that his sort of utilitarian-esque approach is not correct, that he's not right about everything all the time, and that he needs to compromise but of course then they have the situation with Hickman's Avengers run, which is well written, but at the same time, it's like you have these characters like Reed Richards and Black Panther and Tony Stark and Namor and stuff like that. A lot of Beast from the X-Men. A lot of these people who are supposed to be honorable like heroes. Especially it's a character assassination for Reed Richards and Iron Man in Black Panther, because those three are the three that have been like who care the most probably about human life, and maybe Beast as well. But you have a situation where they're trying to actively destroy parallel Earths to save their own Earth. And it's just not cool. Like, why would I want to see my heroes become monsters and become destroyers of worlds? I like Reed Richards. I think Dan Slott does write a good Fantastic Four, by the way. I like the way that Chip Zdarsky and Dan Slott write Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four. And Dan Slott's run on Fantastic Four, which is going right now, is really, really good. But it's like, it's the only good thing Dan Slott's writing right now. See, Dan Slott's not a bad writer. He's talented. The problem is he's a hack. And as a result of that, it's a complete mixed bag. Clones, alternate universe versions, and mind control are all hallmarks of bad continuity. It's true. I don't necessarily hate the idea that Tony Stark's a clone now, but you need to do something with that. And it needs to come from somewhere. You can't just... Because the problem is with that as well is Captain Marvel's supposed to be like one of the more recognizable heroes now. She's supposed to be one of the hallmark staples. Or at least they really, really want her to be. She's not. She's a complete monster. She has like fascist ideologies in modus operandi. And in Civil War II, it's very representative of that. First of all, she was on board with the Human Registration Act. Dan Slott's not a bad writer; he's a bad human being. I don't know that I'd go that far because I don't know enough about the guy to attack his character. Certainly, he has some questionable morals, and he's done some questionable things. But I wouldn't necessarily assert a judgment of character in its totality. But the thing with Carol Danvers is you take everything that's interesting from her. You take her tormented past, you take her alcoholism, and you act like it never happened. It's not a part of that character. And you make her like this weird symbol that she shouldn't be. And then you take her and you make her this character, this dictator, who has like an army of child soldiers, and she's going house to house and arresting people based off a Minority Report prediction algorithm. And Tony Stark explains to her why the nature of the predictions is such that it's not 100% reliable. It's a probability rather than a definite situation. And that's an interesting premise, like the idea that either you could stop something before it happens and potentially save lives, but at the cost of your freedom or at the cost of society's freedom, or you can pre-crime is an interesting concept, and obviously Minority Report and stuff like that goes into it more deeply than I'm going to right now. But it's an interesting philosophical debate that can be had. Obviously, I'm on the side that you can't arrest people for a crime before they've committed a crime. That's absolutely ludicrous. It doesn't matter what kind of evidence you have. If it's not empirical and it's only probabilistic, then obviously that's monstrous. But that's what Carol does. And then you have her kill Tony Stark, and you have her be responsible for the death of Rhodey, and you have her be responsible for putting She-Hulk in a coma, and you have her be responsible for the death of Bruce Banner. Like, she's a complete monster. And there's no coming back from that. And initially she didn't kill Tony Stark. She put him in a coma. And Dan Slott retconned that actually Tony Stark did die, and the Tony Stark that's running around right now is a clone. And so there's just no redemption for this character. There's no redemption for Carol Danvers, especially since they've gone out of their way to literally make her an Avengers villain, at least temporarily. And obviously they're going to set it back where she is a good guy and she was mind controlled or something like that, blah, 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 blah. But this is not a compelling character. This is not a good person. This is not a person whose motivations make any sense. This is not a person who you can relate to on any level, morally or otherwise, unless you're like reprehensible. And I don't understand why you'd want to make a character like that the forefront of your universe. In particular with the MCU, they're really pushing for that. But I guess in that way, Brie Larson's an excellent choice for the role because she's also just horrible to people. She's a complete egomaniac. Anyway, we've been going for almost an hour now, so thank you for tuning in. I have been Ethan Ainsworth, and I will talk to you guys later. I'll also be replying to any comments that come in. Oh shit! I'll also be. Nerdicane just sent a message I had to approve. I'll be replying to any comments that come in after the stream as well, as I always do. I reply to every comment on my video. Every comment on my video. So if you have any questions or anything about anything I've talked about today, or you have any video suggestions, that would help a lot because the old tank's been empty the last few days. I've really had nothing to talk about, and that's part of the reason why I did that mystery box video. Is just because like I had to fill. I didn't want to go too long without uploading. I'm thinking about doing a review or more of a video essay, I suppose, of the not Dan Slott, Jesus. The Steve Ditko and Stan Lee era of Amazing Spider-Man because I've read every single issue of that era and I have it all in paperback form. So I was thinking about doing an essay on the impact and the iconic nature of that and how that contrasts with more recent runs and interpretations of those characters and stories. But anyway, that's an idea for another day. If you guys have any video suggestions, if you guys have any news that I'm not privy to, let me know, and hopefully that'll be a video topic because I have no idea what I want to do right now. And I go through these slumps every once in a while, as you'll be able to notice from looking at my videos. There's very distinct periods of gap between content. Anyway, thank you for watching. I've been Ethan Ainsworth, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks, guys.